Well, hello friends. Today we are going to work on a neglected app in the system, and it's the painting app, because it's been forever since we did anything with that. And it's here, it's called Paintbrush, and basically it has a little bit of painting features, right, but nothing too magical or crazy. And it's a lot like Paintbrush in the original Windows 3 or MS Paint, which was the second name that they had for that thing. But today I think we're going to add layers to the system so that we can start to maybe do like a little bit more sophisticated images, because I feel like if you're going to edit images, you're just going to want layers, right? So we're going to need that, and layers will just open up all kinds of other stuff and just make it kind of logical how to do, like copy paste and things like that become very logical if you have layers. So let's add layers to this app. So I guess I'll show you what the app is currently structured like. So basically we have a window, which is the main app window. Actually, let me bring it up while I'm showing it. And actually, we can use the inspector to look at it. So the main window, right? And then in that window, we have a toolbox widget on the left-hand side with a bunch of different tool buttons that represent the different types of interaction you can have with the paintable area. And then on the right hand side here in the app, we have a paintable widget, which is sort of this paintable area, and it's just a single widget that you can draw on basically, and then it remembers whatever you drew on it. And then finally on the bottom we have the palette widget, which internally has a whole bunch of these little color widgets, which you use to select the active color. So you can control click on them if you want to edit the color. So if you wanted to change that color to this orange here, you could do that. Now you have the orange, spray with that to your heart's content. Anyway, so that's the basic setup. So it's all like single window, and there's no like image or document abstraction of any kind. Like there's just a palette widget and then you draw on it. So I think what we want to do now is we want to start having some sort of document abstraction, right? So that we can start treating, stop treating it like a paintable area and more like a stack of layers that will be composited according to a Z order, and blended using whatever rules you want to blend with. Let me make a new window. So Paintbrush. Maybe I don't love the name Paintbrush, but let's not fret about that right now. So first thing we'll do is we'll need a document type class, but document just doesn't seem right here. I feel like image is a better name, so we'll go with image. And then I guess we'll want a layer class, so we'll add that. And maybe we can start with those. We'll sketch out what this is supposed to look like. So let's just add them here. Image O, layer O. Let me just sort this stuff. There we go. Okay. And before I forget, let me add some copyright headers here. Okay, so let's start by deciding what an image is going to be. So this is like you open you start working on an image in the program, right? So maybe we'll put this in the namespace, Paintbrush class image. And an image doesn't really have to inherit from anything, but for I think we're gonna make it reference counted because that will make it easy to reason about ownership. So we're probably gonna want to have like different owners of an image in different places pretty soon. So we'll start out with that right away. Okay, and then I guess internally we want this guy to have a stack of layers, right? So what is a stack of layers? For simplicity's sake, let's just say that it's a vector of a ref putter or a non-null ref putter to a layer. And then we just decide that the order is like back to front, and then if you want to switch the order, then you'll just move them around in the vector. And just to be clear, I've never made any painting apps or anything like that. Like what you saw there in the in Serenity is like as far as I ever got doing any kind of painting. So we are just approaching this from common sense. Okay, and then I think maybe we'll just say class layer here. And before we go too far with image, let's just decide what a layer is. Namespace, paintbrush. Ref counted. So I feel like the reference counting here is going to help us because we'll see, but like a layer can be more than just inside of an image, right? Like you could also imagine having a layer that's temporary and for instance represents an ongoing paste that you didn't like commit to your image yet, things like that. So you could have layers with kind of shared ownership, but we'll get to that. Okay, so what is a layer? A layer is definitely a bitmap. So we'll have a bitmap inside here, which is called mbitmap, and then that bitmap comes with size. I guess we can say, should we have such a thing as an empty layer? I think not. So layer always has a bitmap, let's say. So this becomes, let's see, graphics bitmap. Starting out with these, and then we can say that we'll have some like size getter. And that's not a construct. Okay, so something like this, and then should a layer have a position, or should the position be determined by the image? It seems, at the moment, it seems slightly more logical to encode the position in the layer. So let's do that. So we'll use integer offsets here, by the way, so it's all like pixel offsets. So we'll call this location. So yeah, location. And this can be a const reference because it's going to be a member. Okay, and then I guess we could add a constructor, so like layer, and let's say that you have to provide a size when you create a layer. That makes sense. And should we require a location as well, maybe? Or maybe that's not super important. So we can just have these kind of belong together, and then we can have something like set location. Yeah. And let's have a public destructor, and let's say that these are not copyable and non-movable, just for our own sanity here, so we don't make some stupid accident happen. Okay, so this is starting to shape up. We'll put those that way. So I'm thinking that we'll probably want to have like a way to instantiate a layer with an existing bitmap, but for now, let's just always, let's only have one constructor to start with, just to make it easy for ourselves. So it'll be this constructor that will take care of allocating a bitmap behind the scenes. So that's okay. I think we don't need to work more on this one right now. So image, let's go back to image. So now we have a stack of layers. We can actually use a non-null ref putter vector instead of a vector of non-null ref putters, which is a slightly nicer API. It gives you some conveniences, like allows you to say foo dot instead of foo arrow, which I personally care a lot about for aesthetic reasons. So let's see, let's expose some information about the layer stack, but not too much. So we can expose the layer count, layers size, and maybe maybe something like this, const layer st index. If you wanted to loop over the layers, we can let you do that. Index, okay. And then if you wanted to, wait, hold on, what does this represent? It represents an image that we can work on, right? So at any given time, you're painting into a specific layer, right? So the editing area of the program has like a current layer that it's working on, or like an active layer or whatever. Current. I don't know, current layer, active layer. Let's not sweat it. But let's see, what do we want to be able to do with this thing? We want to be able to composite this into an image. So like we want to be able to paint the whole stack of layers into a rectangle, essentially. So paint into, and I think we'll just make this an API that takes a painter. GUI forward, so we'll take a GUI painter, and wait, what am I messing up here? Oh, there's a colon. So we'll take a GUI painter and in a source rect and a destination rect, let's say. Dest rect and source rect. Yes, forward, please. So something like that. Paint into composite pose into. Paint into is pretty good. Okay, so how will that function work? Let's see. So this paint into, and then we have our layers. Wait, why is this? Oh, I forgot that I was not working on a library. I'm so used to working on libraries. Image. Hey. So let's do paint into. Okay, and then basically the way we're going to call this function is we're going to say, hey, I have a painter that you can use. Just draw yourself your layer stack. This slice of your layer stack. So like if you have, 3 layers stacked, then we have to start from the back and paint the backmost one, and then the one above that, and so on. And we're not going to be smart here in the first iteration, but there are some like obvious optimizations that we can do to this type of thing, right? Where if you have like multiple opaque layers stacked on top of another, you can avoid painting the invisible areas, right, of lower layers. But for now, we'll just go like a plain back to front, and we'll say that the layers are like the first entry into the layers vector is the backmost. So, oops, that makes this quite easy because we'll just iterate like this. And then let's see. So painter. We'll need GUI painter. Okay, painter, draw, oh no, blit is what we want. Blit, and then we want to blit at a point. Okay, so it doesn't really have a concept of a destination rect. Well, maybe we can live without that. So we'll just say at the SourceRect location for now. Because actually we probably don't want you to, or wait, if you're zooming like from the user interface, like if you say like, oh, zoom my image in 200%, right? Then our SourceRect is going to be different than our destination rect in size. So we should probably use draw scale bitmap here. Then it already takes a destination rect. Makes it a bit easier. Okay, so and then we can take the bitmap. So that would be the layer bitmap. And then the SourceRect, but this is the SourceRect in image coordinates, right? So if the if this layer is at an offset into the image, then we have to offset it. And this is coordinate math. It's my least favorite math. I always blank on how to do these things, but dang it, the pressure. I guess we can just start with this, and then we'll have to adjust it as we go. Because for some reason my mind is drawing a blank right now. I know I have to offset it by the layer location, but SourceRect translated. I don't know. This probably won't be the right way to do it, but we'll have something. Layer location. like I find that type of stuff, it's easier if I can just see it visually and then like click and drag and then watch it like move in the opposite direction when I drag it or something, and then it just clicks for me what needs to be changed. Then it'll be okay. So let's see. So now we have our compositing function, paint in 2, and I guess we'll need a constructor for this. So maybe this thing will just take a size, really, that's all we need. This guy will definitely need a size. And for that we will need graphic size, actually. Oh, wait. Oopsie doopsie doopsie. Okay. Probably say explicit, and then we'll add a factory function. So let's say none and null. Or wait, we should probably disallow creating monstrously huge ones. So we'll use ref footer. I was just thinking, should I use non-null ref footer? But we should only use non-null ref footer if there's no way that you can return null, right? So if there's no way you can fail. And if you try to create an image with, you know, Godzilla-like proportions, then we definitely want to fail. So create with size. Something like that. And then, let's see. Let's implement that in image CPP. So we'll put that up top here. Okay, and then we'll say if size is empty, then we'll fail. And let's say if size width is greater than this, or size height is greater than that. Yeah, then we will fail. Okay, otherwise we will give you a brand spanking new image with the size. Didn't I create that constructor? Graphic size. Oh, calling it private constructor. Well, there's supposed to be an image, my friend. Okay, and then we'll add the constructor. Okay. So that's pretty good. And what would be a good way to start integrating this? Let's see how, because now we're going to want to get rid of the paintable widget and sort of replace it with an image view widget, or an image view maybe. Because the image itself is not a widget, it just represents a sort of a document, right? So we'll want a widget that can view an image. Maybe an image widget, image view, yeah, I like that. Or image editor. Image editor is pretty good. Oh, not CP touch. Image editor. Oopsie doopsie. Refresh. And let me just grab this handy dandy header. Alright. So namespace saying paintbrush. Image editor. And this guy is going to be a widget. So let's make him a regular GUI frame, maybe, just to have that sort of that sunken appearance that looks so dang good. And then what are we going to need in this guy? So let's not worry too much about like the existing functionality. We're going to have to replace basically everything anyway. But what we'll want here is definitely some pointer to an image, right? That's the image that we're working on in this image editor. So let's maybe maybe we can forward declare it. Okay. And then let's use the CObject macro. This, you just have to use this for anything that inherits from core object, which all GUI widgets do. So let's make a constructor. Yeah, it doesn't have to be fancier than that. And then maybe we'll have an accessor for the image. So what is an image editor really? It's basically the area in the GUI where you are interacting with an image, right? So it's, we want to be able to like pan and zoom and stuff like that. So I think what we'll do is we'll say that we want to have a zoom scale, and we want to have a sort of a pan offset, or no, we want to, not a pan offset, we want to have the image is at a location inside of the image editor. Yeah, that makes sense. Because then actually it would be like the quick shell application, which already sort of does this. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I just open something up here. Sort of this thing, right? Like where you can drag an image around in a paintable, zoomable area. That's what we want. So let's look at how that's implemented in Quick Shell. The QS widget, using this old school naming style that we had before the introduction of namespaces. So here we have there's a bitmap, then there's the bitmap rect, the scale, the pan origin. What is the pan origin? Well, there's all kinds of logic with that stuff. Okay, so let's not worry about zooming and panning today. Today, let's only do layers, and we'll leave a whole bunch of things for the future because I don't want to get into like cloning functionality right now that we already have, because it's a bit boring to do, at least in a video. So what are we going to do when we instantiate this guy? I guess we want to set up the image. We want to provide the image when we're constructing this, is what I'm thinking. Or wait, no, we don't. But we want to have a set image function. Set image. Yeah. So that'll be good. Okay, so let's see. Set image. Okay, and image editor set image is move image update. Okay, update means that we'll repaint the editor. Okay, so I think this is pretty good for a start, and then we'll need to let's implement painting, so we can call that compositing function. GUI. Okay, so so the image editor here will have to instantiate a GUI painter. So GUI painter, paint into this, and then we'll clip it to the event so that we don't draw anything that's not actually necessary. And the reason I always clip to the event rect is because the Windows server can send you like a small rect, like a little part of a widget, and tell you, hey, repaint that part. And then if you clip like this, it means that you don't waste time like drawing anything outside of that area. At least you don't, the painter will automatically like skip painting it, and you might still waste time like computing what should be in there. But at least it reduces the amount of work done quite substantially sometimes. So then we want to say if we have an image, oh wait, hold on, we're a frame, so we have to do GUI frame paint event. Okay, and then if we have an image, then we will just say image paint into this painter at the destination rect and the source rect. So here, for example, since we've already clipped, we can just paint it at wherever we want it to be, really. So we'll just put it at 0, 0. Did we not expose the size? No, we didn't. Okay, so like that, and then the source rect. You know, we should expose that as a rect property. It'll make it so much easier to work with it. So image rect. Okay, so we need that. Let's add a little bit of stuff here. So const graphic size, and we'll also synthesize a rect for you if you like, which will be like that. Oh, it's incomplete. I have to. So basically, if you ask for the rect, since the image only has a size, like it doesn't have an X and a Y position, so but we'll still let you ask for a rect, and we'll give you one just with 0, 0 as the X and Y value, which comes in handy quite often when you want to turn a size into a rect, but you don't care about the X and Y. So here, for simplicity, we'll just do it this way right now. Okay, and then let's see. So how do we add this to the main UI? Let's go here, and where we currently have the paintable widget, I guess, is there a lot of code that references this stuff? Yeah, the toolbox, people don't care about this. Set tool. Okay, but if we ignore the tools, okay, so let's see. What did it say? Paintable widget, okay. So image editor. And then we're going to add it in the same place. So in the vertical container, add a paintbrush image editor. And we'll set focus on him. And I think let's just do something so we don't have to see the paintable widget. Size policy can be fixed. We'll just hack it out of the way so we can see what we're doing here. Oh, we didn't implement layer at all. Layer set. Okay. So this one takes a size. And I think here we'll just create a bitmap right away. With the size, right? So we'll do graphics, bitmap, create. We'll say bitmap format's gonna be RGBA 32 with size. All right. Where are we? Oh, image editor. Okay, that's good. So for simplicity here, let's go to the main and then sort of instantiate a new image with some layers. So we'll do it when we're setting up, maybe at the very end before we go into the event loop. Create. Did I not include that? I didn't. Okay, so, oops, here we go. About 640 by 480, everybody's favorite resolution. And then say like layer 1 is, we didn't make a factory function, let's create one. So we can say that this layer is going to be 100 by, or no, let's make a background layer actually. So BG layer, and we'll have a foreground layer 1 and a foreground layer 2. These will be 200 by 100 and 64 by 64. I don't know why. It just seems cool. Then let's add that helper here. So static ref her to layer. And we'll flesh this out. So actually, let's do the same thing we did for image. Same checks. Maybe we'll want to put this in a shared function somewhere, but for now this is okay. Okay, there we go. So now we're creating these, and then we kind of want to add these to the image, right? So let's say add layer. Or let's not move it. Let's keep a handle on it if we want to mess around here. So So image needs some kind of add layer functionality. That will take a ref footer to layer. A non-null ref footer, actually, since we don't accept empty or null layers. Doesn't make any sense. Add layer. And let's see. Let's verify that we don't already have the layer, because that would be weird. So let's assert that m layers contain slow layer is not true. And then we'll append it. So layers will go on top by default. And here we can move, because we are only moving the argument. We're not moving the source of the argument. Ambiguous overload for contains slow is not going to work. Well, I guess we got to do it manually then. This is mostly for my own sanity right now, because you shouldn't really be like adding a layer to an image that already has that layer in it, but since we're so early on here, let's just be a little careful. Assertions are a very good idea, I think. So, okay, what's wrong with you now? I can't call the copy constructor. Oh, no, right, because these are ref footers. So we have to say, I am confident that it's not null. And normally we should be checking that, but here, since I know that it just cares about the size and we are not negative and we're not above 16K in either orientation or either axis. So that's good. And then BG layer, we'll leave that there, but for these two other layers, let's move them. So set location, I don't know, 2010. And for this guy, we'll put him at, I don't know, 400 by 300? No, it's too far. Here. Not that it matters super much. I mean, it matters because we want to make sure that we do the compositing correctly, right? The stuff that I was worrying about. So, okay. And then let's paint something into them programmatically so that we have like some understandable bitmap when we start up. So image, can we get the bitmap? No, I forgot how that worked. The image doesn't have a bitmap. The background layer has a bitmap. So we can fill, very convenient API right now. So we'll fill the background with dark gray, or why don't we fill it with some really handy color like magenta, my favorite debugging color. And foreground layer 1 we'll fill with pleasant green. And the second layer we'll fill with pleasant yellow. I don't know. It's going to be kind of garish. And I don't feel like this is going to work because I probably forgot something, but let's see how far this takes us, or at least get some feedback so that we can know what to fill in next. Okay, so it's very dark here. Let's use the inspector to see if we can figure out what we're looking at. Okay, so maybe I should have a inspect as like an option here. That would be super cool, actually. So that's the toolbox. here is our image editor, taking up all of this space. That's cool. And then the paintable widget is nowhere to be seen, and the palette widget. Okay, so this is the image editor widget that we have created. His relative rect looks good. He doesn't fill with background color. Oh shit, did I not implement a paint event for that class? I feel like I did. Paint event. Image editor. Did we not set image? We didn't set image. Oh. Alright. Had to be something. And probably for the editor, we want to draw a checkerboard pattern behind everything, right? So, okay. Alright, so it's a start. We have our magenta background layer. And we have our green garish layer here. And then we have a yellow layer, finally, which I'm not seeing anywhere. So that's a little bit concerning. I'm guessing that it probably is offset in the wrong direction. So let's go and fix that. Probably I should have negated that translation. So we'll just do click. Oh, that went totally wrong. What went wrong here? Paint event. Wait, what? Are you actually crashing inside Blit with alpha? Wow, I haven't seen a crash like this in forever. Like I used to have these when I was first implementing the GUI and like making the Windows server and everything. This functionality is supposed to do bounce checking. Let's see what the heck we are passing it here. So, wait, SourceRect translated. Deft rect. Wait, what are we passing to this guy? This is where we want to paint the image, right? So the destination rect. Oh shit, the source rect shouldn't be translated. It's the destination rect that should be translated. So it seems like we have some bug there. Layer location, right? Need to look at that separately. Why, if your source rect is out of bounds, then it'll seem to do bad stuff. So that's back to normal. Let's print out what we're doing here. So composite layer. Maybe we should have names for the layers. That would be really helpful. So let's say you can optionally pass a name. But you don't have to. Or let's say that you have to, actually. Because names will make this so much easier to work with. Both for me right now and for me in the future when I want to use this app. So const string in the main. And of course we'll let you change the name because we are not barbarians. Okay, and then in the main thing here, we will should probably take that as an argument here. So name, create with size, yeah. Okay. I'll call it the background. Foreground. One. Wow. So imaginative. So then here we can say layer name. Then we'll say the dest. So this is where we will paint it to. And we'll call it the target. And SourceRect is let's see, what is it that we're actually trying to do here? The SourceRect, I can't, this SourceRect here refers to an area of the bitmap. So, and here it's an area of the image. So my SourceRect needs to be a bit different too. And it needs to be intersected with something. Okay, I just need to see some numbers so I can go from there. Coordinate math is just not my favorite math. Alright, so what are we doing here? Background. So we're drawing the background here. And then these guys are clearly going in the wrong direction now, so let's fix those so that we go in the right direction. Okay, that's our image that we wanted. Now, we don't want to have black as the background, so let's do checkerboard. So painter, fill rect with checkerboard. I guess my rect, my dest rect. What are the arguments here? Cell size, what do we normally use? 8.8. Okay, I think I'll take this verbatim from my friend Mr. Quickshow. Then we don't have a palette. Does Painter have a palette? No. Okay, let's be friendly here and just pass along the palette, because why not? Graphics palette. It doesn't cost us anything to pass that along, and then we can just say here, like, hey, here you go, here's the palette. Don't worry about it. So the palette contains all of the system theme colors, by the way. That's, so like if you switch to dark mode or something, then we're able to adapt to that. Because instead of saying like use white and gray, we just say use the palette's base color. Okay, and then we just need libgufix palette. Palette done. And no, that doesn't look the way I wanted. Oh, I guess because I'm doing this in the wrong place. I shouldn't be doing this in image. What am I thinking? This is so stupid. Like this image is not concerned with the area outside of it itself, right? So it's definitely not right to start drawing outside of the image conceptually here. So this was the wrong idea. And instead, we will do this in image editor. Here is where we should do this. So, booyah. and then we don't have to do that. Okay, now we have our pleasant checkerboard. And if we switch to dark mode, look at that. Just updated. Magic. That's actually pretty neat. So now, of course, we have these layers here, but we don't really know anything about them from the user interface. And it would be good if we could at least select a layer and then sort of manipulate it. But I think I would like to have a list of layers, maybe on the right-hand side. I'm kind of thinking, should we do this with toolbox windows? Because I know a lot of apps do that. Like, it's pretty typical for painting apps, but I guess I don't mind putting it in here, because I'm kind of thinking about if you ever saw the Paint Shop Pro application, like back in the day, from who? What's it called? Yask? Like the really old one, like 4. Oops. No, not the new stupid one. The old beautiful one. Okay. Take me to Google. Damn it, thing. I keep trying to give you a chance to do something properly. Here. Look at this. MDI. Oh yeah, so it's an MDI interface. How do they do layers? Layers. Oh wow, look at WinZip. I remember those icons. How nice are those? I mean, they look friendly and everything, but they also look kind of crappy. I don't see the layer UI anywhere. Dang it. That's GIMP. Yeah, alright, well, okay. Let's not get caught up in like what somebody else did. Let's just figure out what to do. So I think we're just gonna put a panel on the right hand side in the UI here, and we'll just put a list of the layers and we can start from that. So let's see, maybe we'll start committing right away. So I'm going to commit this as we go. Start refactoring to support layer-based images. Main widget of paintbrush. Main editing widget now is now the new image editor, which has points, or which works on image object, which internally has a stack of layer objects. Layers are composited back to front when displaying and painting. Composited by, I don't know, when painting the image inside an image editor. This is very work in progress. Oh, well, we don't have to say that. Let's just keep going. So, let's see. I guess, yeah, so I wanted to show the layers so we can see which one we're using. So, in the main, not here, pane main, we will add some new interface thing. So my T ran out, but I have a backup. So we want to put it on the right hand side, and the main widget is a widget which is horizontally laid out. On the left is a toolbox, and then there's a vertical split between the image editor and the palette, and then I guess we can just add it after that. So in the horizontal container, we'll add a what is the horizontal container? It's a GUI widget. Okay, so we'll just add a new widget. Oops, and we'll call it the right panel. And in the right panel, we will add, let's just add a list view for now, or no, let's put a table view. Okay, layer view, layer table view, maybe. Okay, and then I guess I was just thinking, should we make that part of the image editor? But no, I don't think so. That would get weird. So we'll just say layer table view, set model, I was thinking. So GUI table view. So we'll make a new model, so like paintbrush image layer model. Create for the image, or actually we'll do something like this, image layer model. We have the image vended instead. It's kind of cool. So here we'll say like layer model, and we'll just store that in a ref footer. So layer model, and oh, I don't have ref footer. Okay, and layer model, it's gonna be, let's do one of these guys, because you can always get one. And then we'll instantiate it in here on demand. So if no layer model, then layer model is a layer model. Create this return and layer. Okay, so what is a layer model? Well, it's going to inherit from GUI model, so we can just take some suitable one. What's a simple one that we have? I guess we can just make a new one. It's not terribly difficult. So here's the, just get the list of things that I normally override, and then okay. So we'll need libgui this is going to be a class layer model final public GUI model. Okay. We said create, we pass an image reference, so that's what we will store internally here. Let's say that that's private, and then we don't need sibling, we don't need parent index, don't need index. I think this one we can just do that. So data we need to override for sure. Column metadata, could probably skip. Column name. Maybe we should implement these. Okay. So we'll say that there's an enum column, and we'll have the name of it, and the size of it, and the location of it. Yeah. That's the information that we'll give you. Okay, and then this guy. Let's put these things out of line because it'll be hard to. Well, we can't actually access the image in the header anyway since it's just a forward declaration. So we'll need to do everything out of line, but that's okay. So I just have to qualify a little bit here. I wish QCreator would qualify these for me because, like, you can tell that I'm not in the GUI namespace. You jerk. But we need a constructor, I guess. Layer Moodle. Explicit. Parental advisory. Explicit constructor. Okay, so that's a pretty good shell for a layer model class. Just to expose everything that's in the image inside. I mean, not everything that's in the image, just the layer stack. So layer model, not incel, include layer model. Need an image here, so image. And then the row count of the layer model is very easy to compute. It's the image layer count. Okay, and then the column count we can do up here. Because that's just the column count. It's my little convention thing, just to tell you how many entries there are in an enum. But we'll need a column name. So layer model, column name. So here we'll just say switch column. This kind of stuff is so stupid in C++, right? Like, just give me some kind of reflection, please. Okay, and I guess we'll assert not reached here just to be a good boy. And then we need to implement data. So when the table view is asking this model, like, hey, how many rows of data do you have, right? Then it will just go to the image, ask how many layers it has. That's how many rows of data in the table. And then when it wants to learn what piece of text should be in each column of the rows, then it will call data. So that's what we implement next, data, where we get a model index and a model role, and then we just look at if the row is display. Wait, I'm inheriting from model, so I could also just say role. Yeah, of course I can. But I can't say model index, right? That wouldn't work. But because I am a model, I can access this particular thing as if it's my own. That's nice. Okay, so if it's display, then we do something, otherwise we do nothing. So display is the, it's like the main role. It's what shows up on screen inside of the table view. So here, what we'll do is we'll actually get the layer by asking the image. So it's, the index here is a row and a column, so we're just asking for the image at this, at the layer index, index row. So this will give us a reference to the specific layer that we are accessing data for right now. And then here we can just say, actually we have to switch on the column. Switch on column, case column is name, return layer name, case, column size, include the layer class, location, return layer location. All right. I think that's pretty good. Now, I wanted to set paintbrush layer model. Oh, wait, hold on. I need to. That's a little stupid. Let's change that so it just returns a GUI model. So it doesn't matter, and then we don't have to include that thing, so we'll just say GUI model. I guess I need the layer model here for my destructor to be able, or my constructor to be able to set things up. Wait, what else did I do wrong? In main, I don't know what a model is. Alright, that's fun. Forgot to make the create function. That was a non-null referer to layer model. Create image. Okay. Wouldn't it be cool if this just worked? But I feel like, wait, no, it's not going to work because I didn't set any dimensions on the panel. And, oh, I forgot to lay out the UI. The right panel, we need to give him a size. Set size policy. Horizontal is going to be fixed, and the vertical, let's just fill up all the space, and then we'll say that he's 200 pixels wide. And then we'll give him an internal layout, which is a vertical box layout. Oh. Okay, let's try it out. Okay, That looks a little bit ass because we didn't set the column widths because I wanted to auto size them. So there's a way to do that. If we just say layer table view set size columns to fit content. And look at that. We have our little thing here. I should probably make it a little wider. Or maybe make it resizable, but I kind of like the staticness of it. So we'll just make it a little wider. So 230, whatever. Okay, so it's a start. And then I guess this thing, basically we can make it so that whatever's selected here is the thing that you are painting on. I guess that makes sense. That's how it usually works, right? So maybe we should highlight them somehow. Okay. So let's add a way so that we can figure out which layer is currently selected. I guess the image editor can be the canonical source of that. So you can say like current layer, like active layer. Yeah, that'll be good. And we can make a, well, let's not worry about a, again, let's not worry about a const version or non-const version. Let's make a non-const version to start with. Okay, so layer, active layer. So how in the heck do we get this? We get this from the layer model. And the layer model, or no, we don't get it from the layer model. We get it from the view onto the layer model. So we know based on that view. So basically what we'll need to do is we'll need to hook up that view and say layer table view on selection change or on selection. Let's do on selection change. And here what we'll do is we'll say image editor set active layer, and then I guess we got to figure out what's selected. So for simplicity, let's say that we only care about selecting one layer right now, and then maybe in the future we want to select multiple layers, but for now let's do a single one. So layer table view selection first, and then if index is valid, then we set an active layer to image layer at index row. I don't have set active layer, right? If it's not valid, we'll say set active layer, no active layer. Okay, so that'll be pretty good. And then image editor just needs to have a setter for this. So set active layer. And I think here we can return the, wait, how do we know what the active layer is? Let's just store it in a pointer, I guess. That's probably fine, actually. yeah, let's just do it that way. And then we just, only the setter becomes complicated, so if active layer is already layer, well, then there's nothing to do, dude. But if there is, we will set it and then repaint ourselves. And then I'm thinking that if we have an active layer, then maybe we'll draw like a little thing around it. A little friendly pattern of some type. So let's see. When we're painting the image, so we don't want to interfere with the image thing here, but what we can do is we can say if we have an active layer, then we can just painter draw rect around the inactive layer. Maybe we should have a rect getter for layers, so we'll give you the rectangle in. Yeah, we should clearly have a rect getter here. So it's a rect with the location and the size. So yeah, so the location comes from the layer, but the size comes from the bitmap. Makes sense. So here we will just draw something here. We'll say, well, I don't know. What's a good color? Well, why don't we go with black for now? Just see what that would look like. I need to amp somewhere here. No? Cannot convert from paintbrush layer to, oh shit, that's a const getter. Okay, alright, well, why don't we get a little bit lazy here and just say oopsie doopsie. Okay. So, yeah, now you can see that if I select the layer, then we get a little rect around it. It's kind of neat. I guess we should actually probably draw the rectangle 1 pixel outside so that it doesn't interfere. Because if we draw it like with the rect of the layer, then we won't be able to see the outermost rows and columns of pixels. So let's see what we do about that. Image editor, come here. We will have to inflate that rectangle by 2 pixels in all directions. Okay, so that should be good. I was thinking we could do like a dashed or dotted or something, but this is probably pretty good. Dot, wait, where do we have the line styles? Line style here, so we have solid line, dotted line, and dashed line. But I'm kind of thinking dashed, it would look too much like a selection, right? Because that's typically the convention used for selections. So let's not get carried away with that. This is probably pretty good. And then I guess what we would really want now is to be able to move these things around. So let's try to do that. But first, let's just commit this stuff. I'm just going to go all in here with commits. Add a show the layer stack in a table view. Set. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to be able to activate some tool. And currently what the tools do is they just tell the paintable widget, which we have currently conveniently hidden, they just tell the paintable widget that now I am the active tool. So for this, actually, we want to add a new tool. It should be like a move tool or something like that. Because what I want to do is I just want to move these layers around. So it's sort of like a cursor tool or something. But let's say that we add a move tool. So let's see how the tool system here works. What is a paint tool anyway? Paintbrush tool is a class that receives various events and then points to a paintable widget. So I'm thinking we're going to re-architect this so that it points to an image editor instead, and then it will operate on the image editor through some kind of proxy functions that we figure out which ones we need as we go. So we'll start with this. Like that, class paintbrush, not class, namespace. All right, and image editor, tool, set that up. Okay, so what is the tool here? Oh, that's the out of line you go. All right, so this is now our new tool class, and then you can get rid of you. And then we have to update all of the tools to deal with this, what we just did. So let's just go through them. So we event, I guess, is what we need here, yeah. Okay, so which tools are there? The bucket tool, namespace, paintbrush, see if we can get through all these tools. Wait, this is Hack Studio. Hack Studio also has tools. Hack Studio actually is, I feel like, as I recall, it's like a slightly better implementation of the tool pattern, but now we're in Paintbrush, so we have to deal with Paintbrush. GFX forward. Line tool. Oh. Wow. We have so many tools already. Rectangle tool. The spray tool. The spray and pray tool. And the pen tool. Is that it? Okay, now the CPP files. This will be a bit more work for sure. So I think we can maybe just neuter this stuff, or so how does the, let's look at something simple like the pen tool. just to remember how this whole thing works. So basically, in the pen tool, you get an on mouse down call, and then what we were doing in the past was we would just create a painter onto the paintable widget's underlying bitmap, and then just draw a line from wherever we were before to where we are now. So I think m_widget in this context just needs to be replaced by m_editor. And then of course we need to include. Okay. And then we don't want to paint, like the editor doesn't have a bitmap. It will have like an active layer, and the active layer will have a bitmap. So I think maybe what we need to do here is just check there is m_editor active layer. If no layer, return. Or maybe we can even say if no active layer, return. And then here we can just grab the active layer. Oops. Incomplete type. Alright, so that would work. And then to know what color we're painting with, we should ask the editor. I mean, who really knows what color we're painting with? But previously that was done in the paintable widget, so you had like colors. It's not clear to me that this is a good abstraction the way that it's set up right now, so maybe we can buy some time here by just saying paintable widget the. It's cheap out of this problem for now, because paintable widget will still keep track of whatever you set on the palette, so we'll postpone having to deal with that. And we need to null check this guy before reaching into the active layer like that. Okay, so of course the mouse down event, like, okay, so I feel like this is structured in kind of a stupid way now, because this worked when it was the paintable widget, but the way that it's set up right now, you're just getting a raw mouse event, which is like the mouse event that we get from the windowing system. And it would be a lot easier to implement tools if you would get layer relative coordinates, right? So I think we should change the API of the tool so that each tool receives event with layer relative coordinates. Although it's good if they can get. Wait, can we create new mouse events with? We could just make a new mouse event with an adjusted position for the layer. I think that would be the coolest. Yeah, let's do that. So we can keep this API, it's just that we change the mouse event that we pass here. Okay, so who actually calls this? So previously that would be happening in in the paintable widget. So we can get rid of his association here with the tool stuff. Toolbox widget. Or maybe we can actually leave it like that, but this whole class is going to go away eventually anyway, so it's not such a big deal. Wait, what did I mess up now? Oh, here. I just want to simplify this a little bit. And then we can't do that. Let's not worry too much. Okay, let's just get rid of this stuff. Tool, excuse me. Okay, and then set tool is here. So when we change the tool, then we need to not inform the paintable widget, but inform the image editor instead. And I think we'll do that by having a hook on the toolbox widget be the easiest. So we can do this from the outside world. Function void tool. Zoof. On tool selection. Yeah. Okay, that's good. And then in the toolbox widget, which we'll put into the namespace, and then here we will say on tool selection button tool. Otherwise, on tool selection, no footer. Okay. That's pretty good. Yes. All right. And then how would something like the bucket tool work? So of course M widget just becomes M editor. It's an easy search and replace. And then if, wait, hold on. Really what we should be doing here is grabbing the active layer right away. M editor, active layer, if no layer, just return, we can't do anything. Okay, because then it becomes more a matter of asking if the layer rect contains. See, now that makes a lot more sense than asking if the editor's rect contains something. And then here we'll just want to paint into the layer bitmap. And bucket tool will target, yeah, so this is a bucket fill, so like we fetch one pixel to figure out which pixel are you replacing, you know, like you flood fill everything based on the color. And then we flood fill in the layer bitmap with paintable widget color 4 event, so that's all good. Okay, that's basically the bucket fill. We have Stadio here for some reason. Okay. Let's do some other tools. About the ellipse tool. Every time I type paintbrush, I want to rename the app, but I don't know what the name should be yet. I have a very silly idea in my head, but I don't know if that's a good one. Editor, we need to include. Okay, so yeah, so let's do the same pattern here. So layer is editor, active layer. If no layer, do nothing. Yeah, so we always. Maybe we shouldn't even, actually we shouldn't even send you these events if we don't have a layer. We could even pass the layer to you. Like this, right? Wouldn't that be nice? You don't have to go and look it up yourself. We'll just give it to you. On mouse down. I'll give you the layer and the mouse event. That's freaking nice. Context menu. That's menu context menu on the tool itself. So I think these, for these, will give you the layer. For this one as well, or I guess you can key down anywhere. You don't have to have the mouse on a layer. But for the mouse down, mouse move, mouse up, definitely. Yeah, so let's start with that. Okay, public tool. So this guy now receives the layer like this. Look how much nicer this code is getting. Erase tool. Oh, I totally forgot about the erase tool. The erase tool is a little bit confusing, but I guess it's okay. I don't know what I'm looking at. Let's just keep going. I guess I keep expecting something to give me a like a warning or something, but since I forward declared the layer, it's not going to happen. The spray tool. Oh, I remember when it wasn't me who added the spray tool. It was some contributors who collaborated on it. It was like one of the first things that people actually collaborated on, if you want to call it that, in the system, which I thought was really fun. Let's see, paintbrush. Wait, what am I messing up now? Include tool. Oh, hold up, I'm editing Hack Studio code. I didn't even realize. Yeah, that's why things got weird. Okay, so that's great. And then this one was not supposed to have the layer, right? So let's see, in the paintable widget, so this is actually how we would send the mouse down event, is when we would get a mouse down on the paintable widget, we would just check, do we have a tool currently active? If so, we will pass the event to him. Now we're going to do kind of the same thing, except in the image editor instead. But I wanted to hook that up first. So remember we added that on tool selection thingy in toolbox widget. We have on tool selection. So what we want to do is we want to figure out where do we instantiate this paint main toolbox widget here. So what we want to do here is we want to say my toolbox on tool selection. And here we'll do, oh, actually this needs to go after we have created the image editor. Set tool. Tool. I think that'll be it. And then in the image editor class, we can just go and have a tool thing. So the image editor will have an active tool. Active tool, we could call it. Something like this. And all the tools are permanent, by the way, so we can just have a pointer to it. The tools never get deleted. They just live in the toolbox forever. Okay, but I wanted to call it set active tool, so I feel like that's a bit more descriptive. Okay, and then in the image editor, so now we're going to want to handle like a mouse down, say, right? So what are we going to do when we get a mouse down? We are going to mouse down event. So now we want to work out, like, is this hitting a layer? Or rather, like, what is the coordinate in relation to the active layer? So this is going to be, say, auto position in layer, active layer coordinates, event position translated. And if we don't have, if we don't have an active layer, then we can just ignore this event. Otherwise, we will translate the event by the active layer location. And all of this stuff is going to have to be fixed up when we do zooming and panning and stuff like that. But right now, we're just going with this straightforward way here. We'll just add some helpers later, and we'll take care of that. But just something to think about. Okay, and then we want to hand this to the tool. So if active tool, active tool. Now, I guess if we don't have an active layer, or we don't have an active tool, then we can do nothing. Yeah. Okay, and now we're going to make a new mouse event. Layer event, let's call it. And it will be the same type. Position in active layer coordinates. So we'll just copy everything from the event. Oh, I need that. Why can't I do that? GUI event type. Oh, I have to. I can just hard code it here too, actually. GUI event mouse down sucker. Layer event. I think that's it. Yeah, okay. So then maybe let's make a helper here where we take a mouse event and adjust it to a layer. So say GUI mouse event. Mouse event. Adjusted for layer. And then this guy will take a mouse event. Original event. Yeah. And what we'll do here is basically this, and then we'll also take a layer. So it'll be like that. And then now we need the static cast actually. So we'll static cast GUI event type. original event type. Oh, right, original. Oh, this is really fugly. Let's break it up a little bit. We can even do one of these guys. Okay, that's pretty okay. And then we can use that here. So instead of saying this big mess of a thing, we can just say auto layer event, or local event, layer event. Event adjusted for layer, the event, and active layer. Yes, that's a bit nicer. Okay, because then the mouse move and mouse up kind of write themselves. Mouse move and mouse up. All right. That's cool. And then, wow, we are probably pretty far into breakage here. What file is that? Bucket tool. Wait. Event.h can't. libgui event.h uses vector rects. But event.h doesn't include enough to support that. Oh, he doesn't have vector. Well, that's nasty. So let's commit that separately. Missing vector h include to event.h. Okay, so in the ellipse tool we have problems because we are doing the color for. Okay, let's just update these with a global search and replace. Oh, that's actually in one place. Okay, never mind. Wait, how did I structure that? Oh, I put the layer first. Dang it. That's okay. Layer. Unused. That's okay. Okay, let's just update all the tools. See, I thought we were going to add a new tool here, like to move stuff around, but it turns out we are instead just updating or like refactoring all the old tools so that they work in the new layer world. But we have to do that anyway, so it's just it's weird when you set out to do something and you end up doing something else. It's not always a good thing. But in this case, it's something that we have to do. So this should just be layer rect. And then we need layer. Editor update. I mean, I guess we should have image editor here, but I feel like this update mechanism that we've had previously in Paintbrush is not very strong. Like what we really want to do is we want to be able to say this layer was updated in this rect, right? Because previously, whenever you touched anything, we would just redraw the whole window. But if you're working with like many layers, you probably want to optimize your repainting a little bit. But let's not get ahead of ourselves with optimization stuff, because it's definitely too soon for that type of thinking. Paintable widget. I'm just going to go through them with the compiler telling me what to work on next. M widget to M editor, click. Then these guys take layers. Image editor, alright. And you get a layer. Oh, on mouse move, do we actually need the layer? Maybe we don't. The line tool and those guys are going to be a little tricky because they kind of have this preview thing where you're previewing the line that you would draw if you let go of the mouse. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to make that work, but we'll make it work somehow. Okay, so yeah, I'll disable this code for now because this is about the previewing the line. Paintable widget. Okay, so now we get to remove a bunch of things here. I guess we can just remove all of these guys. Pen tool.h. What's wrong with you? Oh. Same as all the other guys. Right, so this was the first one that we were editing before we decided that we should just pass in the layer, which is clearly the superior solution. Okay. And then the picker tool. Paintbrush. Okay, I don't know what this one's about. So here we're gonna get the layer handed to us. And widget bitmap rect. It's like you're so far off here. We just want the layer rect, dude. And we'll need to include it. I'm going to use the layer bitmap. And here we will go to the slightly ugly bypass temporarily. Okay, how many more tools are there? We'll do search and replace on that, and then we'll get the image editor and the layer. So the rectangle tool, color for, let's just edit those. And then here we receive the layer. Oh, I have to name it. And same thing here, we'll just disable this code that deals with previewing the rectangle before committing it. And what did we forget? Line 58. Oh, right here. Paintable widget. Done. Spray tool. What is there to say about the spray tool? Widget becomes editor. Paint it. Oh, I guess this is timer callback, is it? Yeah, okay. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to have to do a little bit of smarts. Not too much smarts, but a little bit. So because as long as you're holding down the mouse button, when you're using the spray tool, it will keep like applying more spray at a steady interval, so like every 200 milliseconds. So in order to support that, previously we would grab the bitmap from the editor, so I think we'll do that thing here. Editor active layer. Yeah, this is what we'll do. And then here we just have to take the layer. Okay, we have compiled. Let's see how far from something working we are. So grab this guy. Oh, I have to select something. Oh, and we had a crash. Okay, so let's see what happened. In the pen tool, we're in pen tool on mouse down. And we got a null deref in pen tool on mouse down. Call it widget update. So presumably the editor is null. Yeah, which makes sense because we never set the editor of the tool. And we have to do that. When we do an on tool selection, we do set active tool. And then what we need to do is, we need to do a little bit more stuff in set active tool here. We can't just reassign the pointer. We need to actually, let's see, set active tool. Well, if an active tool is tool, then it's a no-op. Otherwise, if m active tool, clear, I guess, yeah. And then m active tool is tool. And then if m active tool, then m active tool set up with me as the editor. I think that's the basic concept. So select background, pen, and look at that, I'm drawing on the background. It's pretty cool. Okay. Select the second foreground layer, draw in red, not that one, not that one. Okay, I can't draw on either of them. So probably we're screwing up the mouse event stuff. If I draw here, it's not showing up on the thing, but at the very least, I'm seeing action here, so that tells me that we're missing the offset here, because I'm painting here, which is like within the size of this rect, but in the widget space, so we need to be offsetting something that we're not offsetting. The mouse down event, event adjusted for layer, hold on. So let's say adjusted, and then we can just dump this out, position and active layer coordinates. So we'll know what we're drawing here. All right, so right, so it's like wrong by this much. Adjusted. This guy starts at 300, 350. Oh, if I go all the way here, then does it drop? No. Oh shit, wait, because I didn't select this layer. Oh, right, so the adjustment is wrong and just needs to be inverted, I think. Okay. Or the translation, maybe we should call it. Alright, so can I draw on you now, dude? Click. Not quite. Oh, well, actually I'm getting some pixels down there, but the mouse move is somehow like not coming through. I can draw on this guy, no problem. That's kind of neat. But when it comes to this guy, it doesn't stick for some reason. Why the heck is that? Clone mouse down. Oh, can we change the thickness, by the way? 4. Can make dots. Oof. Oh, why can't I paint lines here? It's so weird. Well, let's figure out what's going wrong then. So, are we clipping to something perhaps? So if buttons have either left or right, sure. Well, actually, let's make a commit here and just say paintbrush port all the existing toolbox tools to the layer world. Many tools, or I didn't even try most of the tools, but let's say many tools are not working perfectly right yet, but we'll fix them. Alright, let me actually try some other tools just to see what they do. Can we do like spray? Look at that, it works. It's so neat. spray works down here. Yeah, that makes sense. And what about the color picker? Let's try the color picker. Color picker actually kind of works. Does it work on this guy? Something is off about this layer down here. What about the background? Background works. What is the problem with this guy? I don't get it. Color picker don't work. So, is it the layer rect contains event position that goes wrong? Let's look in the color picker. Wait, this is not the right. It's a picker tool. It's the one I'm looking for. So here, let's dump this out. Picker tool. At event position in layer name contains is layer rect contains position. No, not POSIX open PT. I just want to see if the position is contained here. Oops, oopsie. Wow, we're going on for quite a while today, but this is pretty fun stuff. So I pick you. That's right, that's green, and contains false. Wait, so where am I clicking? 25, 26, and foreground 2. Oh, crap. This rect is, it's in image coordinates. It's not, the layer rect is in image coordinates. That's convention to have, convention in libgui is that rect, like something called rect, has usually location 0. Like that's what you get for widget rect, for example. And then you would have something like the relative rect, which is the rect relative to your conceptual parent. So I think we'll do the same here. And it matches the, oopsie, matches the rest of libgui. Yeah. So were we using this somewhere now that I didn't remember? No. Actually here. Yeah. So this should allow us to draw on that guy as well. Yes, it works. Very, very cool. Okay, how awesome is that? So let's get rid of that. And picker tool let's get rid of that. Paintbrush. Let's have layer rect and layer relative rect. These two have the same semantics as GUI widget. The rect is always at location 0, 0, while the relative location is relative to the parent, which in this case is the image. Here's image, right? That makes sense. Because I don't think we'll want to do layer trees right now. Maybe someday, but layer stack is fine for now. Okay, what do we need to do next? Let's look at the state of the tools. I guess we want to be able to move these layers around. I wanted to add a tool for that. So let me try to erase something. What would happen if I erase here? Oh, how cool is that? We can see through it. Dude. That's so awesome. Very, very cool. All right. So let's add a move tool. We'll copy the color picker tool, KLM move tool. The alphabet is difficult sometimes. Okay, so I don't want to take retroactive credit for this, so let's just make sure we tweak those copyrights. Okay, and then picker, we just do a search and replace here, move. And let's do the same thing in move tool CPP just to get started. All right, so the move tool is gonna have on mouse down, and you'll be clicking within the layer. And then your mouse moving, and you're moving the layer around. This will be kind of interesting. And then mouse up, you are letting go of the precious layer. So I guess here we can retain the layer, or no, we can just use a weak pointer to a layer. Or let's use a reference pointer. Layer being moved. Yeah, that's good. So what do we do here? I guess we need an origin point as well. Graphics point and origin. So if we mouse down, event button is not GUI mouse button left, then who cares? Okay. And then we don't want to get pixel. Instead, we want to just set the origin to the event position, and we want to set the layer being moved to the layer. And then we want to do on mouse up and on mouse move. Okay, so here in mouse move, if we are not moving a layer, then we don't care. If we have a layer being moved, then we want to move it. So set location. What is the location? It's the original location. Wait, hold on. The origin and the layer or event origin. and then the delta for our movement is the event position minus the M event origin. And then the layer being moved, new location, is the layer origin translated by the delta. Okay, and then when we mouse up, if event button is, if it's not, GUI mouse button left. Straight up don't care. But if it is, then we'll just say layer being moved, none. And I think that's it. Don't need this option. Oh, and we have to add this to the toolbox. So let's add it. I don't know, where did we put it? Maybe at the top. Move. Oh, we need an icon for it. We don't have an icon. I have to admit that part of why I wanted to work on Paintbrush so much right now is because I wanted to draw an icon for something, and I realized that it's so silly that I'm always drawing icons in GIMP for Serenity, and we should have our own painting application that's at least good enough to draw some icons. So iconless here, and this doesn't do anything. All right. Dang it. How does this work? So we have a move tool. If not, layer rect contains event position. Okay, so I guess we should at least start this thing up here. Move tool, mouse down. Layer rect contains event position. So if this guy says true, then we should be good to go. Oh shit, wait, we're not doing anything with set location, are we? We're just assigning it. Yeah, this needs to actually cost something to get repainted. But this guy has no way of notifying anybody, so we'll do it from here for now. Editor update, yeah. This is not ideal. Like ideally you would have the layer movement, like when you do set location on a layer, it should propagate, the knowledge should propagate to the image somehow through some kind of invalidation mechanism that would then propagate to image editor, which would know how to redraw. And look at that, we can move. Oh, that's kind of janky. But it is moving. Oh, look at that, we're moving the background. Wait, why is it so goofy? Set location. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit tired, and it's getting a little bit difficult to think about everything here, but maybe we can fix this and then call it a day. All right, paint debug. Let's call it image debug, jeez. Get commit image CTP, brush, sounds, debug spam in image, compositing, and our move tool. Why is it just so janky? am I thinking the wrong way here? We're setting the location based on the layer's origin translated by the delta from this position to wherever we started the drag from. What's wrong with that? Move delta. Layer from, layer, let's say layer origin. Layer name. Should select something by default here. Okay, so oh shit, the mouse events, of course. The mouse events are coming in and they're relative to the layer. That's messing things up because since we're moving the layer, the mouse events are now relative to the new location of the layer. Yeah, right. So we would really prefer in this case to have the unadulterated event. Dang it. Okay, maybe we should use a custom struct here for the mouse events. Or we could also pass in like the original mouse event. Yeah, let's do that. So do we have, how does this look? Can we just search for that? Do we get Hack Studio? No, we don't. That's good. So let's say layer event, original event. Yeah, and then we'll do the same for the other guys. So on mouse move. Okay, and then in the image editor, we will give you also the original event. And then you can use that for your little move tool business. So let's see how that will look like. Oh, dang it. I have to update all of these guys too. Let's see. Layer. Call that event. I just realized that nobody's using these, so we're gonna have a bunch of warnings about it. Okay, wait, that didn't go right. Okay, starting to show my tiredness now, but we're almost there. So the move tool origin will be the original event position, right? Which is not going to change because we only needed to compute the delta, and then we'll use the original event here for computing the delta, ignoring the layer relative event. and we should be good. And then we have a bunch of classes now that need to get some help compiling because of unused stuff. Okay, let's just go and add these to a bunch of things. Oh. The thing with coordinate math is that while I don't like it, it's like it's always easy in the end because, or you can always solve it because it's always like kind of intuitive in some way. It's just it takes me a while because I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm a little bit coordinate dyslexic or whatever. But at least you can always work it out because like if I get it upside down, I just flip it over and now it works, right? Okay, so let's see it moving correctly, please. Select this guy and ooh, so right. Oh, look at that. We are below this guy. This guy's above everybody. This guy is below this guy, but above the purple. We can move the background. We see the beautiful checkerboard. This is pretty cool. I really like this. I think making some nice progress here. Oh, and we should make this view over here update live actually when we're changing stuff. So let's fix that. But first let's just add the move tool. Paintbrush, add a move tool for moving layers around. All tools, tool, mouse, event handlers now receive both a layer relative mouse event. Oh, why is this so wide? And the original event. This is needed for the move tool since it will move the layer as we go, since it moves the layer and thereby changes the origin of future events every time it moves. Yeah. Okay, and then we really should have an icon for it because it looks so stupid without an icon. So I think the paintbrush icons are in base res icons paintbrush. So yeah, these are the ones. So we should just what's a good move on? Maybe we can reuse something actually. What's a good icon? Maybe a cursor. Where are the cursors? They're here. I was thinking we could use maybe this guy or this guy. The drag one. That one is not so bad. This one is literally called move. Okay, let's try this one and see if it fits. Wait, how big is that? everything here is 26 by 26. And cursor move is 25 by 25. I think that's a compromise we can live with. So for now, let's just make a copy because I'm feeling a little bit cheesy here. But I'm sure we could come up with a better icon if we spend some time. But for now, I think this one is okay. Oh, and we should do like, we should set an icon while you're doing this. I guess we could do that pretty easily. Let me just hack this in. So, paintbrush, add a borrow the move cursor for the move tool. But I wish that it would show the move cursor while we are dragging, so we could do like window set override cursor. Okay, I'm gonna have to like calm down at some point because I'm so sleepy, but I'm also so excited. Wait, we don't have the move cursor? What the heck? Windows server cursor. Say what? How do we, where do we get that cursor from then? Cursor CPP. The move cursor, sure, but I can't. I guess there's no way to activate this cursor right now. And we don't have custom cursors. That would be a good feature to have. How do I make this programmatically available? I guess I just add something here. So if you ask for the move cursor, I'll give you the move cursor. GUI standard cursor, GUI window, move. Okay, I think that might just work actually. Let's see if it works. Then if you let go, we will stop overriding the cursor. So let's see. Oh, we should actually rebuild the GUI. Or we should rebuild Windows Server. Just a few more features, Mom. Please. Okay, we'll do the cursor, and then we'll make sure that the layer table view updates properly, and then I think we'll be done. So the cursor, can we move, please? Select this layer, and oh wait, that's the hand. That's the hand, you jerk. Dang it. Move. Why is it the hand? Wait, is this messed up? Like, do they not align properly? Hand, drag, move. Oh shit, this guy was missing here. Okay. We can just rebuild this, I think. Click, click, and okay, that's better. Oh, it's a bit weird when I let go of the mouse. It takes a moment to change the cursor. I think probably changing the cursor doesn't flush the Windows Server compositor. So it will flush the cursor next time one of these graphs up here updates. It's like when I let go of the layer, then yeah. Anyway, I don't have to care about that right now. That's not a problem in Paintbrush, it's a problem in Windows Server. Cursors should be flushed immediately when changed. Let's add that. Server allow apps to use the move cursor. Okay, and then here, Paintbrush. Switch to the move cursor while moving layers around. That's cool. Okay, so now finally let's do that thing where we would update the view. So set location. I guess we can tell the editor like did maybe something like layers did change. Yeah, we can have something like that. So then image editor will have a void layers did change, and then in that function we'll just do an update. And also we will say layer model update, because that's just how cool we are. And that should cascade, or like that should travel all the way to the table view, and it will just update the position and everything whenever we move the layers around. At least I think it should work. So selecting this guy. Wait, what did I select? Oh, nothing. Wait a minute. What did I do now? Okay, this is the way it's supposed to be. How did we break this? Wait, what the heck did I do differently? Layer model update. I guess that will cause the selection to change. Oh shit. Can I pass an argument here? Layer model. And layer model, when you say did update, can I make you say something about that? Can I make you say that indexes are still valid? Yes, let's say that. So let's have a helper here. Update, updating indexes. Did update. So like that, because the default mode is it will invalidate all indexes, but in our case we don't need to invalidate anything, so we can just do one of those, and we'll call update without invalidating indexes, and we can't because we don't know that it's a layer model. Okay. It's a little bit cheesy, but since we know that it's that. It's a little bit gross. Maybe we should vend the right type. I don't know, but I don't want to think about that right now. So can we just move this guy around? Yes, and it updates beautifully over there. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So this will be very interesting when we add like panning and zooming and stuff. But even now, I find it kind of nifty. I like that you can see the outline of the layer this line. We should probably make the line optional, but all right, let's commit this and then be done for the day finally. Always update or update the layer model when moving layers around. This ensures that the layer table view always shows the current coordinates for the layer. Correct. Accurate. Correct. All right. Oof. Well, I am about out of steam here, so this will be the end of today's video. So if you made it this far and you stuck it out with me, then I thank you for watching. I feel like this was the longest we've gone in a while, but a very productive session. Got a lot of cool stuff done. I'm very happy with the feature work here so far. And I think there's a lot of stuff to refine and like a bunch of things to be removed and everything, but I think here now we have the foundation to start building like a proper image editing app, right? Like now it's getting a lot more serious architecturally than what we had before. So this will be a really cool thing to keep building on. So yeah, thanks for watching, for hanging out. I hope you saw something interesting. This is certainly interesting for me because I've never worked on this kind of stuff before, so it's fun to play by ear and see what we can do. And thanks again for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Bye.